Hey guys, welcome back. And today we are going to be doing, continuing our spooktober Halloween spirit going on over here. Drawings. And today's drawing or digital illustration is going to be Carrie White. And since I'm a huge fan of Stephen King, I wanted to do something a bit into this more horror style. And yeah, I actually not going to go into too much details. Actually, I'm going to go into details because hear me out, okay? Just hear me out for a second. I haven't drawn digitally in over 2 years, and I feel like I took forever with this one. I wanted the sketch to be a bit better or perfect, which it never gets perfect, unfortunately. But I wanted it to be like really good in a way, and this is my second sketch of Carrie, and I almost gave up on this one simply because I was having a terrible day when I decided to do this Carrie art. The traditional art turned out to be beautiful, but when I put it on the screen, I hated everything from the colors to, well, literally everything. And I decided to go with this one due to that fact, because the other ones, everything was it just went overboard, and I hated everything about it, from the colors to the pose. I simply really didn't like it. I think it would have worked if it was just traditional, but I didn't want to make it traditional drawing. I wanted to do something digitally, so I actually decided to just go into it with this. And one thing that also drove me crazy was the hands. Well, one of the hands, because I was drawing and drawing, as you guys can see, and I took forever drawing the right hand. It drove me insane because every time I tried to do like the pose I wanted, which is this one that I'm drawing now, it was kind of wrong. Everything was wrong. It looked horrible, and then I was just like, why isn't it like working out? Why doesn't it look normal? And then I took a step back and I realized that I gave her 2 left hands. Yeah, that's why it wasn't working out, because she had 2 left hands, and it was just you guys saw from the sketch. And yeah, I just took in with this one. I made the dress a bit shorter as well, mostly because I wanted to do something a bit more modern day, like today-ish. And I don't think like nowadays we would wear like the huge prom dresses like they did back then. I think it would be shorter or a bit more, I'm not so normal girl like Carrie is portrayed as very shy. So normally people who step out of their comfort zones, they kind of tend to go a little bit overboard with their style choices, and that's why I went with a shorter dress and like a hairdo. I actually kept that from the original sketch I did, like the first sketch I did. Yeah, and for the colors, before I actually started rendering anything, I actually just separated the colors individually, like hair, tiara, dress, skin. I made base layers for all of them, because it is simpler to just render out each individual piece. Well, for me, that's technically how I did it. And it works brilliantly because it just makes your life so much easier. And then afterwards, I just clean out the layer, and also I do use my sketch layer. I just put it on top of the drawing and I put it on multiply, so it literally gets it makes like the layer prettier, you know, like more natural, not so rough as putting like a black layer. And for the shadow layer, I just took the same exact reddish color, like this red maroon color, and I put it on multiply, and I added it to on top of that as well, and on top as well of the sketch layer, and I put it on multiply, and I didn't go so crazy with it because I actually first wanted to see where I was going to put the shadows, just basically not all of the shadows but just a couple of them, just to see where I was going to start out from. So normally I just made it like really simple, and then later on when I start actually rendering on the copy of the base layer, which I use a clipping mask on top of the base layer, and I just do all the rendering on that layer because then it doesn't go out of the base layer and just goes everywhere. Yeah, and for most of the drawing, I just rendered it nicely, you know. I used a lot of patience because I hadn't done this in a couple of years, and I wanted to make sure that I still remembered how to color in on my like digital art. But in the end, I really did like the way this image was finished, and I did take too much time on it because it has been like 2 years since I've done anything digitally, and I just had a lot of fun literally rendering this one out. I think I was better mentally when I started rendering this one, and I just took my time with it just to remember everything I had to do, remember all of my steps. So I actually had a lot of fun, and I realized that I could have made a fewer adjustments maybe to her left hand. It always has to be hands. It's always the hands. I also had this thing with her eyes that I wasn't really liking her eyes a lot. Even though I did like the finished piece, I think I could have made her eyes a bit smaller. And by this part, I'm just making sure that the shadows, that now where I want the shadows, especially on her body, I wanted the shadows in the precise places for you guys will see it a bit later. And we're now on her dress, which, as you guys can see, I modified her dress after I did the sketch. I had to modify her dress because I didn't really like the way I layered it, and I thought that the way I did it afterwards looked much better, especially with the rendering of her clothes. I even took a sketch line from under her bust because it was bothering me, and it looked way better with the rendering, with the colors and the shadows, than it looked with just having like this little line there. If you guys know me, I love drawing hair, and doing her hair was so fun because I think I used like 4 colors to do it. And I know there are plugins and other things that you can do. You can also use brushes that can imitate like hair, but I find it so relaxing when I place the hairs, like each hair strand where I want them, and just like blend it out later. I find it to be so soothing, and it just makes my life so much fun. This is technically why I had so much shading on the body, was because I was adding in a bit of, I'm not gonna say it because I don't know if YouTube isn't gonna like this, but you guys can see what it is. And I actually had a lot of fun with this, and now I'm adding the prom queen because she is in her promness, but all covered in pig blood, like the movie. She's covered in pig blood in the movie, and I just layered everything red on top. And I did add another overlay over it. I added 2 overlays if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what they were right now, but I did add 2 overlays in it. And here, this is a bit slowed down because I went in with the eyebrows last, and just so you guys could get a little sneak peek on how I literally did this, so I literally just went with it, like literally strand, and then I just blended it out, and I used only a round brush to do all of this, so I didn't really have all those automated brushes that do a lot of things. Yeah, and this is my finished Carrie piece. I'm just adding a little extra flair, like my signature, and a nice background to it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys!